Heya peeps, Emma here. When a raid begins in Valheim, most players want to end it as quickly as possible. And honestly, I was like that too. But what if ending the raid is actually not what we want? Some events spawn creatures and drops rare trophies, valuable resources, and even metals, which can be incredibly useful during not just a normal playthrough, but also no map and no portal runs. And there is a way to pause the event timer and repeatedly reactivate the spawning of these creatures and turn one short raid into a giant rare loot farm and let it last for hours. I've used this to collect Wraith trophies, chains, ectoplasm, and even pieces of iron that I desperately needed in a remote base on a no-map run. And strangely, I barely see anyone talking about this strategy. So before we get into it, let me know in the comments which creature you would like to test this on the most and farm the resources of, and let's dive in. I didn't originally set out to create an event farm. During one of my no-map runs, I had built a remote base and needed 2 iron for a stonecutter, and sadly there was no swamp on the island that I knew of, and that would mean finding iron, loading it onto my ship, navigating all my way back there without a map, which is a lot of hassle and I might get lost. But then a blob event started when I was at that base once during a livestream, and the blob event, if you don't know, includes Oozers. If you don't get Oozers and you still get Draugrs for this event, that means you are still before defeating Bone Mass. Once you have defeated Bone Mass, this event kind of switches into the blob event and stays like that afterwards. Now the blob event is extra special because Oozers have a chance to drop scrap iron. Though the chances are relatively low, I have been lucky before, and I knew that I had to take advantage of this event happening at that specific base that I really wanted a stonecutter at. So instead of treating the raid as a threat, I started treating it like a delivery system. I fought the creatures, focused on the Oozers, and collected their drops, and eventually I did get the 2 iron that I needed. The raid had delivered non-portable metals directly to the base where I needed it at. At first, I thought this was just a lucky opportunity. For this case, it kinda was, but during another event on my solo world, because the event started while I was in my base and I moved to a safer location outside of the event area, the timer just stopped progressing. When I stepped back inside, the event became active again. I left again, fought the creatures outside of the area, and then briefly returned so the timer would still tick down. More creatures spawned, and then I realized I wasn't simply surviving the event, I was, in a way, controlling it. It felt really cool. Science time with Emma. Bling! Now let's dive into some of the mechanics first. A Valheim event is fixed to a location in the world. Once it spawns, it stays there. While your character is inside the active event area, the timer progresses and the event spawning system is active. When your character leaves the area, the timer is paused, and the event will stay attached to its location, waiting for you to return. No 2 events can be active at the same time anymore. This used to be the case in the past, but no longer. But here is the really important part. The creatures do not necessarily spawn inside of the event circle. This is sometimes an issue and people find it annoying, since they will try to spawn around your base in not spawn-proofed areas, still inside of the rendered areas though. That means that your character can briefly activate the event from inside its range, while the creatures appear further away, including outside the event range. So the area controlling the timer and the area where creatures can spawn are not necessarily the same thing. For example, if you're standing on the edge, creatures can spawn far away from the actual event area, and that separation makes the farm possible. Now, how do we get this farming loop? The process is simple. When an event begins, quickly grab food or the needed potions, weapons and anything you need as fast as possible, and leave the event area. Fight the creatures that have spawned and collect their drops while the event timer is paused. Once they are defeated, return to the boundary and briefly step inside. This will reactivate the event creatures that spawn. Then step outside again, fight the next group, and repeat. Step inside, reactivate the event, step outside, kill, loot, repeat. just over and over again. Different events have different spawning intervals, so enemies do not always appear right after 1 or 2 seconds. But for example, the Wraith event has the creatures spawn basically immediately, so only 1 or 2 seconds inside of the event range is enough. The most important part is that you don't wait or fight inside of the event area, so you're not wasting your limited timer of the event. Another important part is preparing your base, so let's look into that as well. First, you need to spawn-proof your base and immediate surrounding area. Anything you want protected, you need to make sure is safe, like player-based structures, creatures, wild themes, anything of that kind. But this is the interesting part. You don't need to cover every single piece of the surrounding landscape. You can leave deliberate spots open if you have a specific area with raised walls that you can safely spawn these creatures in, or if you have a bridge like in my case. Once I leave the bridge, I am on the main continent and I don't spawn-proof over there. If you leave some valid open ground further away from your important buildings, you will create a protected base and a separate combat area where the event creatures can spawn. And this way you can basically create a home delivery system where they basically deliver rare trophies, rare resources, and even metals to your doorstep. Another important part is to not rely on the red circle shown on your map to see where the real boundary of the event is. You need to make sure that there is no longer a raid message on top of your screen. Move in and out while watching the event become active. That way you know exactly where to stand without constantly opening the map. If you work with a system like I did here with an island and a bridge, you know exactly where you will be safe outside of the event area, while also being able to fight creatures without needing to constantly open your map. And then we have the rewards. Depending on the event you receive, you will get different types of loot, so you still need a little bit of luck. The Ghost and Wraith event can provide chains, ectoplasm, and extremely rare trophies. I really wanted some Wraith trophies because they look amazing as decorations, and this method lets you fight far more Wraiths without allowing the event to expire. The chains are also super useful for hanging braziers. I have been using them to create smokeless fireplaces for years, and this is actually why I joined YouTube and started making videos, to share a smokeless fireplace design that I had discovered while making a treasure hunt. So I'll link that video in the description for you to check out as well. The Blob event, as mentioned, can provide you with additional chances to fight Oozers and get scrap iron delivered to any place you like, and get a little bit of iron that might just be enough to make a stonecutter in strange locations. And Hilder's event can provide a lot of extra opportunities to fight Brenna, Gerhafa, or Zilanthunger, which are all very rare trophies, since these creatures are normally limited by number of their locations in the world. Not to mention that the Brenna event also spawns Rancid Remains, a creature that, just like the Ghost, is extremely rare and can only spawn in very specific locations. If you are doing a trophy hunt, the Brenna event might actually help you get the Rancid Remain trophy much faster than going after crypts. This is also an amazing way to train your combat skills along the way, with food, repairs, and storage conveniently nearby. There are a few things that you need to watch out for. In multiplayer, another player standing inside of the area can keep the timer running. Stray enemies may prevent new creatures from spawning reliably, so be sure to check behind rocks. I have even seen some creatures run away after deer to unrendered areas. So there you go, peeps. Most players see events and ask, how quickly can I end this? And I honestly used to be like that too. But now I ask, which event is it and can I use it to my advantage? If this video changes how you look at Valheim raids, be sure to give the video a like. It really lets me know what videos you like to see, and let me know in the comments what kind of video you would like to see next. Be sure to subscribe for more useful Valheim mechanics. Thank you so incredibly much for watching. You are absolutely amazing, and I'll see you all next week. Dag.